Good evening. My name is Eric Edwards, and welcome to Prevention Partnership Live. I'll be your host today, and I'm joined by my distinguished guest. Daryl, introduce yourself?
Oh, yes.
Tell us a little bit about you, man. You got your credentials. What's going on?
My name is Daryl Edwards. I'm a resident from the Austin community. I was born there in 1966. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about drinking and driving, some other things with my distinguished guests here from Prevention Partnership.
That's right. Now, before we get into the presentation, we want to talk about BASSET. What BASSET stands for is Beverage, Alcohol, Seller, and Server Training. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about some of the things that we can do, you know, as individuals, as well as what the state can do to protect people when you know they're out there drinking. You know, for us to understand is that when a person is enjoying a cocktail, when they're out with their friends having a good time, that you know what, they have to be very careful on how much they actually consume, because Daryl, as you always say, alcohol is a drug, correct?
Right. Well, you know what? I'll go a little bit more. One of the things that I do is I teach bartenders how to serve alcoholic drinks.
Right.
And alcohol, as we know, is technically a drug. So if you're a bartender, technically you are a drug dealer.
Yep. So you got to be careful what you do and how much you serve of your product, because you got to understand that, you know, what you're actually serving your customers, you know, can, you know, potentially be fatal if they consume too much.
Of course, I've seen it happen 100 times. So, you know, I'm not like trying to be a prohibitionist. I'm like, if you want to go out and have a few drinks or something, that's great. However, if you overindulge, it can be harmful.
Right.
So one of the things we do with the BASSET training, that's the Beverage, Alcohol, Seller, and Server Education Training Program. You have to be licensed by the state of Illinois to be a bartender or even a seller or server, you know, even in a place like, you know, like Hooters or, you know, one of those type of restaurants. This is one of the things we do. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We do offer this training free of charge.
Free, that's right.
Free. So if you have any questions, call the number at the bottom of the screen, Prevention Partnership. We have another free training coming up soon, and just give us a call and we can talk about it. Eric?
Okay, let's get into the presentation. Well, like I said, we're going to focus today on BASSET, which is the Beverage, Alcohol, Seller, and Server Education Training. Now, what we want to focus on is the scope of the alcoholic problem, because too much consumption of alcohol can definitely be a problem. So we want to talk about that. We want to understand that alcohol, number one, is the most widely used and most widely accepted drug known to mankind. Like we said earlier in the show, it is a drug. And also in the past, the present, and probably the future, if you really think about it, 70% of people in the United States drink alcoholic beverages on a regular basis. Now, when we talk about a regular basis, what's a regular basis? What does that mean to you, Daryl?
Well, you know what, Eric, you know, and I teach bartenders all over, you know, the state of Illinois.
Right.
When we say regular basis, it's tough. I mean, what's regular? Once every holiday, once every week, once every month, once every day, once in the morning, once in, you know.
5 times a day.
5 times a day.
First, depends on the individual.
Depends on the individual. Some people have more of a problem than others, but basically we talk about when it becomes a problem, if it starts interrupting with work, family, friends, you know, the law, things like that.
Exactly.
We don't want that to happen, and you know, as a teacher of legal bartenders, we don't want our bartenders out there helping along with these problems. So, you know.
Exactly. And that's what the BASSET program does, is to really educate people that work in the industry, you know, what to do and what not to do.
Right. Sometimes enough is enough, and you got to cut people off.
Right,
you know.
Exactly. Okay, so let's keep going. So, like I said, you know, alcohol is a drug, and we want to make sure that, you know, we, you know, manage that drug when we're working with our clients. So that's very important. So we have to keep in mind that, you know, when we're working with alcohol, it is a drug, and it has to be managed. It's a legal drug, so we have to manage it. Now, let's look at alcohol being the drug, like I said, of choice for most people. Why is that? Well, it works quickly, it's legal, it's inexpensive. You can get some Boone's Farm for probably $5 at your local store, you know, and it's easily obtainable. You know, you can just go down to, you know, a grocery store or a local liquor store and get it.
Oh, yeah.
And also, alcohol has become a social norm, you know, in our society today. It's found in a variety of settings. Like when you go to parties, things like that, you know, you're always going to find, you know, alcohol that's available. Alcohol has been accepted as a way of life, you know, and a harmless means of relaxation. So, you know, we're not bashing alcohol and beating up on alcohol. You know, what we're basically saying is that, you know, when you do drink alcohol, you got to kind of manage it, you know. I mean, you have to take it and just throw it in the garbage. And no. You know, you have to say, okay, you know what? I understand that alcohol can be, you know, bad if I consume too much. So when I am drinking, I have to, you know, manage it and, you know, make sure I don't consume too much. Am I right?
Right. Yeah, correct. And then again, I'm no way, you know, prohibitionist. I do teach bartenders,
yeah.
But one of the mandates of the Bassett program is to teach bartenders to be responsible.
Right.
If a person has had a little too much, maybe it's time, you know, to go and
cut them off.
You cut them off, and
in a respectable way.
In a respectable way, you know, non-harmful way. You know, it's a bad thing I hate to do when I have to tell a customer, you know, you've had a little too much to drink.
Right.
However, by state law, it is against the law for me to serve a drink to a person who's already intoxicated.
Exactly.
It's state law.
Exactly.
I can't do it.
Right, exactly.
And most bartenders, at least our bartenders, are trained to do that.
Right.
They must cut you off.
Sounds good. So, like I said, alcohol, as does any drug, affects certain parts of the body. And a variety of problems can occur from excessive consumption. You know, too much of anything is not good for you. But, you know, we have to keep in mind that, you know, if you do consume, you know, a lot of alcohol, you know, it can really, you know, affect you and you can start having health problems as well. Alcohol is the most common factor in highway deaths and injuries. Let's look at some stats here. And these are a little old, but they are still pretty relevant today.
They haven't changed much.
Yeah. So back in 2013, 10,076 people were killed in car crashes, drunk driving incidents. Over 250,000 people were injured. And this is a year because of, you know, drunk driving and, you know, alcohol-related incidents. And over $51 billion in economic costs to our society from, you know, excessive drinking and alcohol-related, like, incidents. So I think, you know, it's important that people understand is that, you know, not only if you're drinking too much are you harming yourself, but there's also, you know, a broader effect on the economy and other people as well.
Right, and I can let me add a little bit about the statistics and including the Bassett programs.
Yeah.
You know, the statistics. You're like 2013. Well, I just checked the statistics last week, and you know, in 2018, it's 10,400 killed.
10,400?
It's actually gone up.
It's gone up.
So somebody hasn't been doing their job. So which is why we're on TV and we're speaking here now because you know, something needs to change.
Right. So it looks like we have a caller that's coming in. Caller, you have a question? Thanks for giving us a call.
This is a real quick comment. They about to legalize social marijuana.
Yes.
And majority of the people who drink, they also smoke that reefer.
Right.
Now it seems like it's going to be double trouble. So how would you be able to see one who's been drinking and they've been smoking that
Good
marijuana?
question.
So let me get up here. Thanks for letting me talk, and I'd like to hear y'all's response.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for calling. So,
okay, thank you. You know, I recently, just a couple months ago, left a meeting in downstate Illinois, and we were discussing smoking marijuana, you know, versus drinking and driving. The problem that we have now is that, of course, with drinking and driving, we have the breathalyzer.
Right.
Cops can pull you over if you want to take the breathalyzer or something. It's an easy test. We do not have such a thing with marijuana.
Right. Not yet, at least.
Not yet, at least. So that's going to be an extremely difficult one. Yeah, you can maybe smell the marijuana or whatever, but, the police officers have a difficult time trying to, prove that you're smoking the marijuana. The other thing you got to keep in mind, marijuana stays in the system for sometimes up to weeks. So maybe you've not been smoking that morning, that day. Maybe you were smoking a week ago and you would still test positive, but technically you're not high. So yes, that is a problem. Some of the things that were on the table were, cops being able to do urine tests and things like that. There's certain legal aspects to that. Can a cop actually pull you over and make you do a urine sample just to,
that's not good.
It's not.
Pull you over there and say, well, have you been you've been smoking? And you're like, no, officer, I haven't been smoking. Like, okay, buddy, I'm gonna need a sample.
Right.
Like, where do I go? Oh, go behind that tree over there.
Exactly. So
not good.
Yeah, so it's not something we haven't discussed. Like I say, I was at a meeting downstate in Normal, Illinois.
In fact, they're having one next month.
Yeah, next month. Yeah. And these are things that are on the table, and local police and sheriff departments are there, along with us community service providers, and we're just trying to figure out what we want to do. And it's great that people like you call in and ask the questions. Right. Because this is stuff that needs to be on the table,
right.
And we certainly will be at that meeting.
Right, so great question.
Great question.
Let's continue with the presentation. So let's look at some other stats. Intoxicated drivers on the roadway, the drunk driver. Now, if you see this guy out there, stay away from him. Look at his car. His car is out to get you. His car is even drunk. He's got his bottle on his car. He's your classic drunk driver. So at any time, 1 out of 50 drivers out there, are drunk drivers, have been drinking.
Yeah.
Let's look at the weekends. And weekends and nights, closer to 1 out of 10.
1 out of 10.
1 out of 10. So when you think about weekend and nights, think about like Friday night, Saturday night, people going out to bars and clubs, things like that. It's 1 out of 10. So 40 to 60% are coming from public drinking establishments.
Right. You know what? Let me talk a little bit about that. Like that, they're all coming from public drinking establishments.
Right.
Now, I train bartenders.
Yes, you do.
And one of the things we do is when you take Bassett training, we train the bartender to watch their customers.
Right.
If the customer is in no shape or form to drive,
right.
It's the bartender's responsibility
to manage that situation.
To manage that situation.
Right.
Hey, ma'am, sir, are you okay?
Right.
Are you driving? Do you need me to call anybody? Can we get you a cab?
Right.
You don't want to let a person going out looking like that guy, the 1 out of 10, because
right.
They will...
not looking like this guy.
Not looking like that guy. I would not let a guy like that leave my bar without some words, sir.
Yeah,
we got to at least have words.
Yeah, that guy is looking for you. He's looking for trouble.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So.
And our bartenders are responsible.
Right. Good. So let's keep going with our presentation. So, state laws. They regulate the DUIs, and they vary, however. They generally fall within the following categories. Under the influence of alcohol with a blood alcohol concentration level of 0.05, very important, 0.05 or more.
Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the 0.05.
All right.
Technically, by state law, it's a 0.08.
Everybody knows 0.08. That's like the number that's in everybody's head. But
however,
let's talk about that 0.05.
However, if an officer feels you cannot operate that vehicle, he can take you in at a 5.
Right.
Some people can have 1 drink,
right,
and they're tipsy.
Right.
The officer can make that call.
Right. So if the officer pulls me over and he's like, Eric, you've been drinking? And I'm like, I had a few drinks, I'm all right, though. And he says, okay, well, they give you the test. So if I'm doing the old touch the nose thing and walk the straight line, and I can't do it, and I blow, and I'm at 0.05, not 0.08, he can take me in.
He can take you.
Okay.
It's his call.
Right.
So
and I think that's
people,
important. People need to understand that.
right. Yep. But technically, it's a 0-8.
Right.
But if you can't walk the line, and then notice, can you show the slide again, Eve?
Sure.
Notice it says under the influence of any other drug
Right.
or combination of drugs.
Right.
That includes your marijuana, your prescription drugs. I mean, I take high blood pressure medicine.
Yeah.
It says do not drive while taking this. If I take that high blood pressure medicine and have so much as one beer,
Yeah.
the breathalyzer may show 0.02.
Right.
But I've done either smoke some marijuana or I've taken that high blood pressure medicine. The cop has a right to take me in.
Right, exactly, and you know the police officer should, you know, for your own protection, and for, you know, other people that are out there on the road. So
Right.
All right, so like Daryl said, you know, it's not just about alcohol. It's under the influence of any other drug or combination of drugs. Under the combined influence of alcohol and these drugs. It's sort of like, you know, if you're doing the opioid thing, or if you're drinking, or if you're smoking marijuana, you know, whatever drug, because remember, alcohol is a drug. If you're using that drug and you're under the influence, you know, you can be, you know, taken in, you know, if you're on the road there and having some problems. So, intoxicated pedestrians. Now let's talk about people out there that's just walking down the street that's not even driving. Like, you know, they can, you know, put themselves in a dangerous situation too. They're also a problem, especially at night and around bar closing times. Over 1/3 of pedestrians killed in traffic accidents were intoxicated, and generally the pedestrian had a blood alcohol, BAC, that's what that stands for, blood alcohol content level, of 0.08 or greater. So,
Right.
yeah, walking.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I teach bartenders. I teach bartending class. I've had over 800 students, you know, in my career. And I actually had one student who actually came to my class, and then she told me the story. There was a gentleman. She asked the gentleman, "Are you driving?" He said, "No, I'm taking public transportation."
Right.
And, you know, it's a downtown city of Chicago location. And she said, "Okay, well, he's not driving. You know, get home safe." He went out, got on the public transportation, on the L platform, and fell off in front of a train. Now,
Drunk walking.
drunk walking. We talk about drunk driving, drunk walking. You can show the slide again, E. Drunk walking. It happens.
Right.
So we make sure that we train our bartenders, you know, just because the person isn't driving, still make sure that they're going to get home safely. Right. You know, I mean, a drunken person who, you know, they're not going to make it.
Right, and you know, what you can do is, you know, especially in this day and age, 2019, you can call a person an Uber, a Lyft, or something like that, you know. So that way they don't have to drive if they are, you know, driving a car, if they got in their car, or they don't have to walk or get on public transportation.
Right.
You can call that Uber, you can call that Lyft.
Right.
They can get them home, you know, and make sure that they safe.
Right, and the main thing is, if you're a bartender or waiter or server, ask the customer, "Are you okay?" If they're not, most of the time, they'll say, "Hey, I need help."
Right.
And then you can call somebody. And you got to think of, too, if you're the bartender in the state of Illinois, yes, the person is responsible, but in the state of Illinois, the bar or the establishment is legally responsible.
Right, so that business can be responsible for their customers if they get hurt.
Right, if they get hurt or killed, everybody can be sued, from the person to the establishment, even the worker themselves.
Right.
If I was just, you know, just a simple bartender and somebody got hurt or killed or something, I could be sued for up to $80,000 by state law.
That's a lot of cheddar.
You know, I can at least try to help the person, and then maybe the judge will, you know, say it wasn't my fault.
Right.
But if I just sit there and just say, "Here you go, buddy, here's another drink," and you go off and have a car accident and hurt somebody, I can be sued.
Right.
So not only do we want to save the customer, we want to respect the establishment, and we want to stay ourselves out of legal trouble.
Right. So guys, if you got any questions, give us a call. The number's at the bottom of the screen, 312-738-1060. So let's move along, continue with our presentation. Let's talk about alcohol is also a contributing factor in a number of different incidents.
Yes,
so let's take a look at these. So alcohol, a major contributing factor in falls, murders, suicides, drownings, fire deaths, burning down the house, violent crimes, choking deaths, sexual assaults, and domestic violence.
Oh, yeah, we all know about, guy gets drunk, comes home, and then wants to beat up the wife and kids and things.
Yeah.
So not only, is it just drinking and driving, but there's a whole lot of other stuff. Now, I don't want to just vilify, alcohol or whatever.
Right.
I'm not a prohibitionist.
Right, exactly, right. It's proper management and responsibility.
Right, proper management,
you know what I mean?
That's what Bassett is about.
Exactly.
We teach bartenders to be responsible. And if you're not a bartender and you still want to take our class,
right.
Maybe you just want to learn a little bit about alcohol or something, the class is free.
It's totally free.
Totally free, and you just come out to the Oak Park Library and take a class at any time.
Right. And you can also go to our website, oakparkbassett.com, and then you can actually sign up for our next class, which you're going to have in June. And it's totally free, no charge.
Totally free. Totally free. And so great. Now, give us a call. We've only got like a couple seconds. So if you want to call us, give us a call now. If not, just look us up at oakparkbassett.com. And you'll get me, or you may get Mr. Edwards here, and we'll answer any of your questions.
Right, and that number's at the bottom of the screen, 312-738-1060.
Right, give us a call now because we can't keep this up all day.
Nope, we sure can. All right, so let's keep going with the little time we have. So let's look at the scope of the problem as we continue. One of the greatest health problems in society today is alcoholism. It is the third leading cause of preventable death. Now, think about this. The third leading cause, preventable. So that means that it's something that we can, prevent from happening behind cancer and heart disease. Alcoholism is strongly influenced by environmental factors. Mostly social drinkers fail to recognize the symptoms, indicating the onset. So, basically what that slide is basically saying is that, a lot of times drinking, can be something that is inherited, or it could be something that, people have seen other people do, children have seen like adults do, and they pick up the problem.
Right. Yeah, and like I say, it's alcoholism is technically classified as a disease. You sort of get it.
Right.
And sometimes, you can't help it,
right.
And, but, if people ask for help, help is available. As a person, who teaches bartenders,
right.
Like I say, we're not a prohibitionist, but
we're here to help people,
right.
and to try to manage the problem.
Right, exactly. And as bartenders and servers, if we see a problem, we're the first line of defense. We don't need when a cop gets involved, or somebody gets in legal trouble, or somebody, ends up sick in a hospital. As a bartender, we need to listen and be a counselor.
Right.
Hey, buddy, you know what I mean? How's it going? And that's what we do, and we train our bartenders to be responsible. And to be honest, it's the state law. Yep. Every bartender or every server must be trained by Bassett. Whether it's our program or another program, you must be trained before you pass that drink to a person, and you need to know how to counsel and at least give decent advice.
Right. Sounds good. Well, that's about all the time we have for today, and I hope you guys enjoy the show. And again, give us a call at that number, 312-738-1060. When we're on the air, if you got any questions, we'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Or you can reach us at the Prevention Partnership phone number, which is 773-378-4195. Or if you want to go online, you can hit us up on our website, which is
www.oakparkbassett.com. Send us an email. You'll probably get either me, the bartending instructor, or Mr. Edwards here.
Sounds good, Daryl. So until next time, you guys have a good night and keep safe.